Hello all. Today we are here to talk about generators. We're primarily going to focus on reproduction parts, aftermarket generators. Alright, so how do we start this? This right here is a 502 generator. It was made in Idaho. It was sold by a parts house in Washington. I have taken the tip, and you can see I've filed it away. And you can see that there's practically no material for the orifice itself. These were noted to have a problem with overburn. So to continue on that, there's another common generator that one runs across when collecting Coleman items, etc. That is, and this one I did a little, shall we say, destructive testing. This is a 200A. Notice lots of solder here. I didn't really spend a lot of time carving this away. I wanted to illustrate the lack of fusion or sweating. These only seal at the very top of the solder joint. I've had them fail, and then you have overburn. You have a condition you can't really understand what's going on. Again, we can see a complete lack of any distance. It's basically they float two drill bits together and hope for the best. As this continues on, I'll go into more detail about some things that we're seeing. So you can see that there's approximately no material at all for the orifice itself. The length of the orifice controls the flow. Anybody that does precision carb work, tuning, knows this. So here you can see very plainly. It's practically nothing. I have a lot of these generators. These can be purchased again at that parts house in Washington State, or there's another individual or two. And how do I broach this here without causing hard feelings? There's one seller in Canada. I guess he doesn't wear clothes on eBay, and he claims to sell these. He lists these as a Coleman. You can see there's lots of solder there. There's very, very little in where it matters. He lists these as a Coleman-made generator, and they're not. And then what happens? Young operator, inexperienced operator, or even inexperienced old operator purchases this, and then you can have these overburn problems. These, I guess, were recalled at one point by the place in Washington State. Second half of this video is in a few seconds. You just have to sit through the new light operating, and we're going to touch on a few other aspects of this and do some more in-depth looks at jets and other parts and self-proclaimed experts and everything that everyone loves. So just sit back and enjoy. Okay, now the one I'm holding is a Coleman jet, and it is stamped. You can see the length of the orifice plainly in this right here. You can see it plainly. It's basically about 25 thou. The one right next to it I'm tapping right there. That's one I made here. You can see the orifice there. The length of that orifice, the 8 thousandths hole, is about 35 thou. And then, right next to it, you can see the Mexican unit. And you can see there's practically no length of the orifice. They just float it together and hope for the best, basically. This one here is a Petromax. Again, you can see that there's no orifice at all. There's no length of orifice. Overburn with that one also. It's really hard to regulate the fuel when you don't have an accurate metering orifice. This is a factory or correct, and it's installed on the generator. It's a Petromax style. This is a butterfly. It's an older butterfly. And you can see that the orifice has a little bit of length to it. It should have more, in my opinion, but it's a lot better than the ones from India. And I've run these before, and no problems with overburn. So let's talk about some things here. This, everybody's probably wondering, that's new light. This is a factory new light jet here. It's been cut in half. And what do I mean by cut in half? Well, there's the back half. I cut it right in half. These run also very, very much like the Coleman, basically 25 thou. It's hard to see, but you can see it. This one right here. This one, I was making the new light gas tips, and I wanted to experiment. That's about 175 thou, and that is a piece of 8 thousandths wire right through there. And I split it. I guess that's a good demonstration. Another one of mine. Doesn't really slide. So what are we doing with all this? Well, there's a huge amount of confusion and frustration. It's another one of mine. It's been in operation for a while. Another 8 thousandths. Let's talk about this for a minute. What should we talk about? We have some jets in front of us. There's some other parts. Now there's more new light. I guess I have a video of that operating. We have cleaning rods. Why can't anybody make a cleaning rod that's nice and true like that? I've seen, well, what should I say? I've seen various renditions of them. This is Ostramax. I think there's some guys that need these. I know there's some guys that need the new one. And I know they need that. They definitely do that. So let's talk about this. What do we have here? Well, last year I had to listen to one individual, he's north of me by about 60 miles, explain that, I heard this from a couple different sources in fact, that what you can do is press in a watch bushing or a clip off a syringe or a metering orifice and press it in. I don't know where it goes really, I'll be honest. I don't know where it goes because there's not really that much meat in there. Where do you put this bushing? I guess they're pre-made to size and it was going to solve the problem. Where do you put that in there? Is there a little door that opens up and it slides in like Men in Black? I understand. On the one new light where I got a little rambunctious, okay, you could probably do something there. But how do you do the cone? If the cone's not right, what happens? The needle comes up, hits the edge. You know what happens after that. The other thing happens is if the needles aren't right, what happens is, there's another one. I've been experimenting with different techniques on how to do these. Oh, yeah. If the needle's not right, if it's not guided up in, what happens is, again, it's off center. And then it hits inside the jet. You turn the cleaning lever. I have a new light cleaning lever there pictured. and hits that. In the far right corner, I made this up because it was basically because I can. This is a replacement of that. I guess parts for those are unavailable at the Storm King, etc. I guess they're 100 years old, out of production. So, yeah, it's a couple of the self-appointed experts. Watch bushings, needles, this, that, everything else. Where do you put it? I talked to the individual that's north of me, and he said, how do you know? How do you know they didn't do that? Well, twat waffle. Think about it. Cut a jet apart, take a look. So it's really difficult, especially this 502 right here. That's how the guy does them. There's practically nothing there. If you measure that, it comes up. I came up with 1/1000th of meat. The fail boat has sailed. I guess drilling very small holes is difficult. I guess accurately drilling very small holes is extremely difficult. I've been doing it for a little while now, a couple years. I seem to have the hang of it. So hopefully you get something out of this video.